Hello and welcome out to this week's episode of Outbreak Gamers. I'm your host, WebDave, David Anthony, big fat guy in a chair, whatever you want to call me. That's what I'll answer to. And I am so pleased to have on Purple Haze. Purple, what's going on?
Hey, Web Dave. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing really good. I'm so excited to have you on. You were gracious enough to have me on your podcast, which was awesome, and I was flattered that you asked me. We had a great interview there, and of course, while I was there on the Shades of Purple podcast, I was like, you know what, I need to have you on my podcast, and you were like, okay, so so thankfully you were gracious enough to come on here. Thank you.
No, well, as I said on my on Shades of Purple, your episode, like you kind of were inspiration for a lot of how I do my channel, and so thank you. You're definitely royalty in my book. So this is a
Oh,
huge I'm kind of fangirling here. So thank you.
well, thank you very much. I'm just your average fat guy.
You're so
Wee. Oh goodness, goodness. Okay, so look, I'm excited to have you. Like I said, we have talked before because you interviewed me, and I got to find out some things about you there. So we may rehash some of that, but that's okay because I want this people that have not seen that interview to find out more about you because I think you are definitely an up and comer, and they definitely really need to watch your show and subscribe to your channel, and really because you do a great job in interviewing. You do a really fun show, and it's thoughtful. And the thing I like about it is that you're not afraid to just go where the conversation takes you. So, and that's and
Oh,
that's that's awesome. So, kudos for you.
thank you. No, I'm glad you take that. You took that away from it because I definitely try to make it an inviting show. And give a little bit of my personality. And this is actually really cool because, like, you've done so many of the interviews and talked to people. Uh, as if I think I have like about 75, almost 80 different people have come on,
It's
but I've
awesome.
never actually have done so where someone interviews me. So this
Oh,
is kind of so you're actually the first. Like I've been on other shows where they'll
excellent.
ask, but you're like the first who's actually like done this. So it's kind of cool.
Well, cool. Well, thank you. Every now and again, you might hear my little dog, Lady, bark in the background because she decided that now that I'm talking, she wants to know what's going on. But I think we'll be okay, and she's okay. But too funny, too funny. All right, so let's start things off with like what was your first job, or first I guess maybe career or education or something that you have done. If you want to talk about some of that, just to let people kind of get to know what more about you.
Yeah, so my first like, I'll say, like, my first career path, right? Because I think we've had
Hmm.
jobs when we're younger who,
Yeah.
but my first career path, started actually at the age of 17,
Mm.
and spent the better part of 12 to 13 years in it, was the Army.
Very cool. Very cool. Thank you for your service, by the way.
Oh, thank you, no, thank you. Thank you for your tax dollars is what I say.
That's too funny. Too funny, too funny. So all right. Um, I mean, and I won't necessarily get into detailed details because I don't know what part of the services as far as that you have done. Special forces. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But but like so with going into the with the armed forces is a career. What did I mean? Were you able to I guess find your niche? Was there like educational benefits that you were able to take away from that?
Yeah. Yeah, so like I went to school and then I owed time afterwards. So that's how it actually happened. And
Hmm.
then I did more than my initial commitment. So went to school, did some time, did some more time to build up my educational benefits again. And
Hmm.
then once I had finished, so I left right as I was an active duty major. And right now I'm in the inactive reserves as lieutenant colonel. But and I probably won't. That doesn't mean nothing unless you've been in the military. But that's
Oh.
probably where I have no like plans to go back active. But
Hmm.
I did that, and then I actually got a grad degree while I was in, and then I ended up getting, like, another grad degree when I got out.
Very nice. Very nice. That's cool. I mean, there's I know a lot of times, especially recently, it seems like it's harder and harder for them to get people to to join the armed forces because it's not for everybody. But they do offer a lot if you really look into it. It's not a so that's like I said, kudos to you for like it's a great advantage for a lot of people to
Yeah. Lady, hey.
She's so funny. And she would not have been doing this and just having to leave the door open. Wasn't thinking she's gone away now, but she may be back. Oh goodness, goodness. Sorry about that.
No.
Okay, so with that, was there anything else that you like went into or a career path that took you or decided to go down?
Yeah, so after I left the military, and I just want to just say 100%, I think like the armed service not for everyone, but I do think everyone should do something that's outside of themselves, like something for the greater good, for
Mm-hmm.
Peace Corps teaching, helping people who were Peace Corps teaching veterans, just something like that. I think society would be much better if people just went something for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Uh so I would definitely say that. And then but after I left, like, so the military and everything is very much leadership focused, not management, but like leadership.
Mm-hmm.
So I really started to hone that as a thing, like taking what the military had taught me. It's like putting some more of like the academic background. Obviously there's some business that goes into that, going through a path of consulting that took me through big tech to gaming to a lot of different things as I help different leaders
Mm-hmm.
with their problems, and really turning that into like kind of a platform where now I engage like some fairly senior leaders across industries to help them navigate some of their most challenging problems as it pertains to some facet of leadership.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. Very cool. Well, you had even mentioned gaming, so let's kind of turn toward that a little bit, and let's talk about some of your maybe your first experience with gaming.
Okay. So my first experience with the gaming is actually, and I think we talked about this, is Atari.
Yeah.
So yep, you have it, and I don't have my Atari shirt on. Usually, if I would thought I would have worn one of my Atari 50. I have that shirt. I'm a big fan of the
Nice.
Atari, uh, team. And so it's Atari, and it was a game, and I never can remember the name of it. But it was a game where you're kind of in the turret of a tank, and you're going and you're looking for other tanks to shoot.
Mhm.
And so like that's the first. I can never remember the name, and some people in my chat know what it is. I always
Right.
forget it. But that would definitely be the first actual gaming memory. And then I think where I actually would say that, "Oh, I'm coming back," like, that's my dad watching my dad play or my mom play, because a lot of people don't realize that the Atari was actually built for, like, adults,
Yeah.
initially, back in the '70s, early '80s, and so when we think about, like, something for me, it'd probably be Nintendo, and, playing Contra with my brother.
Love it. Yeah, love that game. So much fun. So I guess as gaming grew for you, we just talked like I said a few minutes ago in the green room. We both we have careers and we have work and things like that to do,
Yeah.
but we love playing games. Both of us do. So what's I guess maybe what is like the current game that you would say you spend the most time on
Oh, I
or
got
enjoy the
so
most?
yeah,
Mhm.
so this is gonna actually sound really the people who know me actually know when I say, like, my favorite platform is the chessboard. So, I when you say the most time I spend, I actually spend a considerable amount of time on something called chess.com. It's actually an app,
Nice.
it's also on the computer,
Mhm.
and it's, like, beyond, like, gaming, like, I played chess for a long time. Almost, oh my goodness, like, I don't wanna say how old, but, close to half a century, I'll say it
Long
like that.
time.
A long time. And so I spend that's probably where I spend the most consistent amount of time. As far as the current game I am playing, so I've been streaming with the community Fall Guys, but that's not
Nice.
what I would play, and that's just my community streams. But I would say the game that I'm playing right now, spending the most time, is probably a co-op called Remnant 2. It's
Oh,
probably the
cool.
last one that I would say sunk over 100 hours in,
Mm,
and that I that I go back to quite a bit.
very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about it. I think it's
Yeah.
now available on Game Pass.
Mhm.
I personally have not played it yet, but I've seen a few streams of people playing it. It may have been even yours.
Yeah, I do
So
play it.
there you go. So yeah, and it looks really good. And it's just one of those. I I was never big on Pokemon at all. My kids
Okay.
were, but I wasn't. And then this Power World came out, and I was like, well, I'll download and play. And I can't stop.
Oh, I well, that's super. I'm super happy for people to find it,
Yeah.
Pal World, and so that's super awesome. Um, you know, I'm so, and we may talk about it later, but as long as people are enjoying gaming, I don't care like where the platform is, what type of the form factor. Uh, I separate the world into gamers and
Hmm.
non and people who don't support gaming. So as long as there's something that's keeping you engaged, and
Yeah.
I think that's a connection to the community that shouldn't be overlooked.
Yeah. Yeah. And kind of in your vein of saying that, like, all right. So my wife, loves playing, well, used to love, well, still does, but like Donkey Kong Country, side scrolling. She
Mm.
loved that. Okay. So, and then when the N64 came out, we got Donkey Kong 64. She's like, oh, Donkey Kong. I love that. Played about a minute, minute and a half. And the camera angle, had to move it around and stuff. It made her nauseous. It made her sick. And
Oh,
it's not
no.
for everybody. So she was like, so she pretty much, she played Donkey Kong and stuff. And her big game is Miss Pac-Man, stuff like that. So,
Love
we'd
it.
still we would play some games, but now, in the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, it's phone gaming. It's playing
Mobile.
games on her phone, mobile, yeah.
Mhm.
And it's like it's so funny to me because she'll be like, I said, "Honey, are you playing, let's see, Monopoly Go?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, man, all my friends do. We have a lot of fun with battles." I was like, "Oh, really?" I said, "Well, how much was that game?" She goes, "Oh, it's free. It was download for free." I said, "Really?" I said, "Well, how much do you spend on the inside the app?" She goes, maybe a little bit." I said, "Really?" "Well, last month you spent $87."
Oh my goodness.
And she was like, "What?" I was like, I showed her the thing from, I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "Oh, I didn't realize it." I goes, "Oh, yeah, 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 mhm. Not
Yeah,
so
it'll
free, is it?"
get you. It'll get you. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
they
Oh,
will.
I love hearing that,
Yeah.
and just there are women gamers too.
Oh,
That's
yes.
what I
Yes.
always tell people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my daughter, she's Final Fantasy 14.
Oh,
She when
wow.
she plays it all the time, constantly. She was on last night till, I don't know, 2 o'clock in the morning, and wake up and I hear her laughing because she's in there with her friends and stuff playing. I was like, "Oh my god."
Oh,
I gotta sleep, hush.
I love
So, but
it.
yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. It's there's, like I said, a gaming is those people's like, "Oh, hardcore this and plays this and Call of Duty and all this." And, like, I like Call of Duty for sure, but it's like, that doesn't define you as a gamer. As long as you play and you're having fun, that's really all that matters. And the
That's
best
it.
thing about gaming for me is you're able, and like you said with your community nights, is you're able to get together with friends. You have a conversation. It's not just, kill them all and die. And I'm sure you talk about
Oh, yeah.
life and fun and, that kind of stuff. It's, or rib each other, not in a mean way, but it's just, because it's fun. And that's the whole thing. It's a community camaraderie. It's awesome.
Yeah. No, I think it's a great medium, and again, I think there's the people who are in it and support it, right? Who want to be in it and are all for it. But there's no mistake that there's people who really do not care about it and do not prioritize it,
Yeah.
and are for policies and things that are probably conducive to uh, are not conducive, I guess is where I would say, to the enjoyment of gamers.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so as we're still talking about, gaming, but I guess at some point, you probably listen to some podcasts, you watched a little bit of it. Yeah. So when did you decide I want to try and be a part of this, or and what was like your first attempt or actual success at recording, and what were your goals or your thoughts when you thought, you know what, I want to try and either record my gameplay or do an interview or just talk about gaming. How'd that work out for you? What did you do?
Yeah, so it happened about so I left gaming like right, like I was in it till like the 90s and stuff, and
Hmm.
then the military, like I kind of just lost track. As the military, like just in general, sometimes you lose track around that young adulthood. You have other
Hmm.
priorities.
Yep.
And what actually and I say that knowing like I still play chess.com and a couple of those things throughout that time, but like the actual gaming, like console gaming, what brought me back was a thing called Stadia from Google. Like, it was really easy to play. I was really
Hmm.
just, like, amazed at the technology and how seamless it was. And so then I wanted to learn more, so I started watching people stream, and I started seeing, like, this entire community revolved around it. And it was interesting because they were talking about, like, say you had a lot of controversy, throughout its entire time, and what I heard were people talking about, like, the business side of gaming, and it was really interesting to me because, like, I'm someone who is in the business side, like, I have worked with gaming companies, I knew kinda some of the key players that they were talking about, and, but they were not, how should I say it? The conversations weren't really, like, what was happening, like, that it didn't
Right.
had a lot of, like, business, what we call business sense to it. And I understand why, right? Like, unless you're in that, you've helped build like those strategies, you wouldn't really know it.
Hmm.
So I was like, so there was that, and then I didn't see that many women talking about. So there was like something like not that many people who had my background and knowledge were talking. Not that many people were not too many women, definitely not women who look like me. And so I started commenting in people's after their stream, right? I would comment because I didn't want to like comment in the live chat. And it was Doc Dark 1985, uh person named Squids, and Cowboy King of Entertainment.
Hmm.
All people who are part of the state community and in some shape or form were like, hey, you should create content. And, so I gave it a shot, and I initially tried to, like, do, like, a puzzle game, I guess what we would call a cozy game, and I still do those.
Yeah.
Um, but I also wanted to, like, just find out more about these people who I was talking to, and so that's where it came up, and like I said, I was like, "Who's doing this?" And your name came up as someone who's, like, kinda doing it, and so I was like, "Okay, like, yeah, let me put my own spin to it," and so that's kinda how it came about.
That's cool. That's cool. And I like your spin. It's very good.
Mhm.
So, so I guess, sorry. So at that point you started, started doing your own content, but like, did you, did you focus on strictly interviews, or because I know you do also do like play alongs and stuff like that, like gameplay and stuff. So is there a certain aspect you like more, or do you like the variety on your channel?
Yeah, so I kind of do three forms of content, as I would say, and it's always about I loved how we started where we talked about like the community, right?
Hmm.
Because it's always been about the community about for
Right.
me. And so all my content has some community aspect, right? Like if I'm giving like my take on something, whether it's business or decisions or rumors, like trying to up level the community's um like talking point. Even if you disagree with me, I rather you like disagree with me, like at least your um your idea is bouncing off of something that I feel is a little bit more sturdy and
Hmm.
based in some foundation in business
Right.
versus you just talking about some random nonsense. So
Yeah.
there's that
Yep.
idea about uplifting the community, like uplifting, upskilling. And then there's the idea of getting to know gamers and content creators. So that's like the shades of purple. Um, stuff. So there's like one that I call purple shade, and that's like my business. That's like my hot take, like my like thing.
Hmm.
There's the shades of purple where it's like uh everybody's part of you know my community. So that's why I call it like a shades of purple.
Mhm.
And that's the interview that I do with people. And then there's like the play along or a game that I can engage my chat with, where it's like a place where we could come together and I'm going to engage with you. So if it's a play along like a Fall Guys, that's somewhere where we can conjugate and just talk.
Mhm.
Or I do like horror games a lot of times. And the
Nice.
reason I do that is because it's a game that on itself, and a lot of people don't realize this, but it's not my favorite genre.
Mm.
But it's a genre that I wanna know the end of the story, and it's probably
Mm.
something I wouldn't play on by myself,
Yeah.
and because of that, I get to play with the community, and I can prioritize it so I can finish it, but because of the way horror games are, there's always, like, this, like, break in the action, and then, like, you get
Mm.
into it, there's the opportunity to engage the chat, and so
Yeah.
if you come to one of my streams and the chat's going like, you'll notice I'm always engaging the chat just because
Mhm.
it's about the building the community and having that touch point.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool too. Plus, maybe I love horror. It's just I love it a lot. A friend of mine, special effects makeup artist, and he so we he he would like use us as experiments when he was learning his craft as to do makeup and stuff. We would be his
That's
guinea
so
pigs.
cool.
Oh yeah. Well, sometimes it was cool and sometimes it was scary. One time his brother, he almost couldn't get the mask off, and it was like he was having trouble breathing, so we finally had to yeah, we got it off, but it was like, "Whoa, hey, lesson learned, don't use that type of mix." So so but the point is that, like, horror games, I'm sure there's times right, so Resident Evil, the first one, PlayStation, those dogs jump through the glass. Oh my god, scared the shit out of me
They
because it was
do,
like,
they can if it's like
yeah, so where'd that come from, So I love the jump scare, but it was, like, unexpected, and then there it was, and it was like, "Wow." So, yeah, so that's and if you got somebody there with you, you maybe feel like not as alone and in the
yes!
dark.
Yeah, that's you now you understand why. It's
Yep.
like it's a game that I like I said, I wouldn't play on my own for 1, either being, like, too, like, nervous to play it, or
Yeah.
2, it's like, would I actually finish it, you know? And
Mm,
so
yeah.
by streaming it, it's almost like it holds me accountable to finishing it with the community, and so that's why if you see me usually do a game where it's not a play along, it's horror.
Yeah, yeah, and well, good to know you got friends that, got your back.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
not the knife sticking out of it. Just kidding. So
Oh my goodness.
there you go. There you go. Alright. So one of the things we did, kinda, come up with when we talked on, the interview that you did with me, which I loved. Thank you so much. But, of course, I have movie posters back here, and we talked about why I have movie posters.
Yes.
And so and that kinda got us off on a conversation. And video games right now, the biggest form of entertainment there is, period.
Mhm.
So, but there's also movies, and from talking to you, we both love movies.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so kind of talk about, I guess, how your, I guess, your fascination with movies, and what what kind of genres that you're talking about, and what you like, and then of course we talked about the quality. That now is like 4K is like it's
Yes.
really makes a big difference. So go
Yes.
ahead.
No. Yeah. So, I mean, movies have always so I'm not gonna pretend like I was, like, always this a movie buff. I'm not even gonna say I'm a movie buff now, right? But I
Right.
think there was always the like, let's go back, like, I'm not that old, but, like, if I'm talking late '70s, early '80s, you kinda know how old I am in a way.
You're young,
Um,
trust me.
yeah. But, if you kinda go back to that time, like, going to the movies was, like, a thing, right?
Mhm.
Like, it's kind of this ritual, and I put the same so I'm gonna be all over the place, but it's gonna come
Yeah,
together,
sure.
I promise. And it's similar to, like, when people talk about vinyl, right?
Yes. Mhm.
Vinyl people who love vinyl, no matter how much you tell them about, like, the data, digital versus, audio or analog or whatnot, they're gonna say it's something about it, and it always eventually comes down to the experience, right? And so the same thing with like movies. There's like an experience to it. There was like this you would go in, the smell of popcorn, sticky floors, like waiting in line for it to like buying the ticket even, like watching previews, watch like just being there. And then obviously the experience of the sound, the big picture, and so forth. I think like over time, there was different marketing things to say you could get the same experience at home, right? Bigger TVs, you start talking about. I mean, I remember when
Mhm.
720p, like we start
Mhm.
talking about that. You get uh VHS to DVD to, and they're all trying to like talk about the different effects of like you can still get the same experience. And but for me, it was never the same. Right. It's never the same. And there's a lot of movies that, to be very honest, most movies I did not watch in the theater. If you think about it, like on average, most, even at the height of movie going, most people only watch like 2 to 3 movies a year.
Yeah.
So if you think about like just most people would say, okay, yeah, by the time they're 30, they've watched more than 90 movies, right?
Mhm.
So for me, I start to be like, okay, so that means you're watching most of your movies like on a VHS, on a
Mhm.
DVD, maybe it was a Blu-ray, maybe it was streaming, and that's cool, right?
Mhm.
It's great. You saw the story and everything. But if you heard me from the beginning, there's like an experience to this. Like there's
Mm.
something to that that's different. And so it didn't start to really hit me until recently. And people had talked about this, but this is again something like, even though I've been around gaming, I've been about the media entertainment industry, I've had clients who were big companies in these industry in these spaces.
Mhm.
I didn't quite understand what was going on. And recently, I got an actual room, like a dedicated movie theater room. And
Nice.
I went in, yeah, it's amazing. I like it. And I was so excited. And now I brought my mom and my brother live with me now. Like we're all, because my brother was also in the military. My mom was a
Mhm.
nurse. So we never really spent a lot of time together. So we're kind of reliving that. It's really great.
That's nice.
Yeah, I love it. But I was so excited because my brother is actually a jazz musician. So he's really big into sound. And I was super excited to show him this room. And so we go in there. I forget what we were playing. Like I told him to bring like a movie so we could test the system, and he puts it in there. I'm so excited to see his face for this jaw dropping experience. And he's like, there's no bass. Like his immediate criticism is like, this isn't that great of an experience. I'm like, what? So needless to say, like I go to like go try to find like what's wrong with this. And sure enough, like I think the other people took the subwoofer on accident or something. We didn't have it. So I
Mhm.
got a subwoofer in there. We do everything. And so I'm super excited. They set it up and they're like, all right, test it out. So what do? I go to a movie I really like, Dune.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like I
Is that
like
the
Dune.
original?
No, the second one, the second one. The
That's
original's
still
good
good.
too.
That
This
one's good. Yeah,
still good.
both of them are good. Yep.
Yeah, I like Zendaya. I gotta
Mhm.
support her.
Oh, I'm right there with
Eh,
you. It's a great movie.
yeah, and so, but it's a system like you could get like the Dolby Atmos, you can
Oh,
get the
yeah.
4K. It has like really cool sound effects and a score. So I go to, I'm super proud. I go to Max on with HBO. I'm
Mhm.
paying like 20 something dollars to have 4K. So I play it, and the guy is like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? I'm streaming it." I'm like watching. I'm like, "This sounds really good." And he's like, "No, you're doing this wrong." I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Go get the 4K. Go get the 4K Blu-ray for
Yeah.
this. So go get the 4K Blu-ray. Put it in there." My
Yeah.
mind is blown. My mind is blown on the difference, and it's really about the sound. Because if you hear me, it's like about the music, the
Mhm.
score. Obviously, visually, there's also that aspect to it, but it starts to give me that feeling. Can't replicate being in like a Regal theater. It's like you're
Right.
not gonna. But as I said before, you're already not watching most movies in the theater, right?
Right.
Time they already were released. You're watching a remastered. That's not from the original directors.
Mhm.
There's so many things that go on to that. And, and so I started to really dig into this and understanding, like, that what is actually being streamed versus what the directors want versus, yeah, if you can't be there in the theater, like, how sometimes those same directors or those same, production companies are trying to give you that same experience if you know, if you wanted,
Mhm.
and it's just opened my vision or my eyes, my ears to
Mhm.
trying to really experience this again. So, we talked about it. I'm super excited about, so every month I now I get like 4 or 6, movies to watch throughout the month,
Mhm.
and it's not always the new one, right? We were
Yeah.
talking about, like, I think, what's the most recent one we were talking about? Like John Wick 4, right? Great.
Yeah.
It actually
Mhm.
has a lot of sound effects. Like
Oh,
it
yeah.
really sounds like the guns are going off. Um, but this one was like, came out. I was a kid. I was not watching this in the theater. The Shining,
Yes.
right? It just
A classic.
came in, but I'm super excited about it because I like The Shining.
Mhm.
I like a lot of the elements about it, the mood setting, the tone, like what's going on. Uh, just so many things about that movie, right?
Mhm.
And they say that the 4K Blu-ray is like one of the best ports of that
Mhm.
movie done. And so this is something now, like, I couldn't watch it when I was younger. I've seen it before. But
Right.
you're telling me, like, a movie I liked a lot, that there's a better experience to it that's more like to the original version because that was originally shot on film. It's not digital. So a lot of
Right.
these older ones were shot on film so they can uh actually upscale it to like a really great quality
Right.
because they have the source material.
Mhm.
And so, like, to me, that's just super exciting to relive that, not even relive it, to kinda live it and experience it in a way I couldn't.
Right.
And again, um, I think if you're a fan of physical, we hear this in the gaming community a lot, like physical, like,
Yes.
console or I gotta touch it, not cloud. Like it's definitely I was a Stadia person, right?
Yeah.
So I heard all the arguments about it, like
Right.
you couldn't erase physical. But for me, you know, we actually heard this in the Activision Blizzard deal from Bobby Kotick, and I don't not saying
Mhm.
anything about it, the deal
No,
or
no.
Bobby Kotick, but he actually mentioned this about Hollywood and what's happening with the digitalization of Hollywood. You're
Mhm.
losing something, and so much so that the directors of these films now we're talking like, in the gaming community, we know Kojima, right? We're
Yes.
like Kojima, right?
Mhm.
And but there's like a few others that we may know, but in the movie industry, like Tarantino,
Oh, yeah.
Christopher Nolan, Steven Spielberg, like these are like titans that
Mhm.
we throw around. And virtually every single one of them have come out and said, if you're watching my thing and streaming, you're missing what I actually put out.
Yeah.
Like virtually every single one of them is saying this. So if you're a fan of the medium, you're a fan of the art, like I said, the sound, the visual, like just being experienced in that, I like it. I like that experience of the movie theater, which I told you earlier.
Mhm.
If you're a fan of that, you kind of have to get into what I'm like the HD Blu-ray or the 4K Blu-rays or
Mhm.
something. I'm not saying telling everybody go spend a ton of money to go buy your.
Right.
I'm not saying that. What I am saying though is that there is something to be said about experiencing something in the most that the directors are saying to go watch their movies in
Mhm.
to the best of your budget, to the best of your abilities, your resources, your time allows. If it's going to the theater to watch these, like, because sometimes they'll do limited runs of like old movies,
Mhm.
especially during Halloween's for
Oh, yeah.
horror, then support the medium. Like, it's not like streaming is going to support that.
Right.
Like Netflix is not paying money to support uh Regal or AMC, you know?
Yep.
Um, and so that's why I say if you have the time, you have the resources, you have the ability, and some people don't even have a theater near their house anymore because this is going out.
Hmm.
Then go support it. Go find, like, your favorite movie, and like I said, it could be an older one. Like, another one that they said was really well done, that now I got my mom on, because I saw it when I was younger on VHS. I didn't see it in the theater, The Godfather.
Oh yes,
Francis, right? Like, another amazing
Francis Ford
director,
Coppola. Yep.
did an amazing job. Jaws, like,
Yes.
that soundtrack, like, people, like, these are older movies, right, that I'm talking
Hmm.
about, that I didn't see in the theater. I
Hmm.
saw initially on VHS. I've
Right.
seen it streamed, but there's something to be said that every single movie I've talked about, the people who produce the 4K,
Hmm.
the fans of the genre, Alien, right?
Hmm. My all-time favorite. Yep.
Right? They're saying, "Go experience this if you like," and so so I don't know if it's coming. I have a ton of passion for it now,
Yeah.
because once it's gone, once these people pass, it's like classic rock, right? We talked about
Right.
classic rock,
Hey, we did.
right?
Yep. Hmm.
And this is so crazy because I was just thinking about Santana. Like,
Yes.
I was just listening to Santana earlier this morning, and I was like, "Man, I'm so glad I got to see him live," because this is like Dylan, Santana, like, once they're gone, they're gone.
Yeah, they're gone. You'll never experience the
You're
live
never
version for
gonna get
sure.
that again. Same thing from these directors. Same from some of these production houses. Once they're gone, all you have is the digital version, and that may not have been what you wanted.
Hmm.
So, my thing is, like, go support, like, that experience. If that is, because that's art. Like, it's beyond, "Oh, that was a great story." It's like there is something about, like, in New York City, we have something called the Museum of the Moving Image, and it's basically a museum of cinema.
Right.
Uh, but if you think about the evolution that we had with that,
Hmm.
like, to have music, and then they used to have, like, music with, like, sheets of music where you are
Yeah.
movies with
Piano player sitting out
piano
front.
players,
Yeah.
right,
Hmm.
exactly, and just the evolution of that. So many things have to come together, right, to have, and we already know this with gaming, like, you take it up a notch because you have playability, reactability, so I don't wanna take anything from gaming, but there is definitely something about movies and how it can capture you and tell a story, and really 90% of a movie is the sound, if you think
Yes.
about it,
Hmm.
especially if we're talking about horror, it's probably 95%,
Oh yes.
and so why not go try to experience that again? I don't know. I could talk about this where I'm almost crying here
Oh
because
no,
I have so much passion about this.
but I'm right there with you. I 1,000% agree. The nice thing, I guess, about like the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X that have the Blu-ray drives in them that are the HD Blu-rays, so they'll
Yes.
play the high definition movies and the sound quality and the Dolby Atmos and all that kind of stuff. So if you're looking for like a good player, that's the way to go. Like
Yes,
I
yes,
still have a couple of PlayStation 3s in my house. Don't play games on them anymore because they were the best Blu-ray player of the time,
yes.
and they're still great. And they
Yeah.
kept updating them with the latest software and stuff. So it was you could even do 3D at one time
Wow.
with the PlayStation 3 because of the update and stuff. You had the 3D glasses or whatever from them, and
Mhm.
that was
Oh my god,
crazy.
I should remember that.
Yeah, yeah. So I like I can't remember what Avatar or something like that's what I had.
Yep,
But yeah,
it's
but like
Avatar that they did it with, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, and then, but like, movies, even like Jurassic Park, still saw it in theaters.
I did.
It was fantastic. Had it on. I even it was just it's actually I still have this copy. It's very rare, but they released where you could order it a widescreen version on VHS of Jurassic Park. I've still got it. Yeah. So it's really weird because back then it was like VHS. It was format to a regular TV,
Yep,
and it wasn't
69.
the yeah. So it was like so it's wide with big bars at the top and bottom. I love it. It's just kind of neat. But that was the quote unquote experience of the
Yep.
time, and then it got oh I've got the DVD set when it came out, and then of course when the 4K version came out, I'm like, that's one of those movies that I had to have. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily my favorite movie, but it's just that movie is so well done.
Yes, it
And
is.
then when you see it with all the effects and stuff in it, they're fighting over Bone. Sorry, love them. You guys are great.
Love it.
Nobody else is there to get them to quit fighting, so I can't stop them. But anyway, so but yes, and like all right, so like Star Wars, the original, Star Wars when it came out, and the Lucas versions before he went back in and did his special editions, you know. So I have a friend. I don't have these, but he does. That he has the big, large laser disc.
Oh my
Okay,
goodness.
okay. So it is okay. So it's high definition for the time. I think 720p was as high as those went up to,
Right.
but still, it was for the time it was amazing. And it's the original, cut of the film of all three. He has all three of them without the quote unquote super editions. Where Jar Jar shoots first, or no, what's Jar Jar, but whatever his name is, shoots first. I'm sorry, I'm so
You're
excited.
good. I know
Yeah, you
you're
know what I'm
good.
talking about. Yeah, yeah. But whether it's Han shoots first or whatever, and it's like, so it's like wow, that's. But his are the originals, so without all that quote unquote enhancements that Lucas put in later, what better or worse for whatever reason. And then to see that, because we had this over one night just long time ago, but he was like, and he had a really nice TV at the time and stuff, and we watched, and there was, so it was just like, because it was so much better than watching it on VHS. Yeah, it wasn't quite being in the theater, but it was like was as close you could get at the
At the
time.
time. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like, oh my god, I absolutely loved it. So yeah, so I'm right there with you as far as the passion for the quality and the sound and everything, and all the things that come together. And Jaws, you mentioned it. Do you have the 4K of Jaws?
I don't, but I'm about to get it. About to
I was
get
gonna
it.
say
About
I
to.
have it. You love it. You'll love
Oh
it.
my
You love
goodness. That
it.
score, everybody, when you talk about Jaws, they know dun dun dun.
Yeah.
They think that, but that score is actually fun. Like John Williams does amazing work in that.
Hmm.
Like it's a really well done score. So no, I am so looking forward to seeing that. And just they say the colors were really well done. Like you
Yeah.
actually have the skin tones and the water, and it looks like you're, where is it supposed to be? Cape Cod or Martha's Vineyard, somewhere over there.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
so it actually looks like you get that feeling there. And so
Yeah.
it's my next one. It like I what I kind of do is I try to do like one of my favorite movies, one or two of my favorite movies, one or two of like a recent really well done movie, and then
Hmm.
one or two of a classic. So I think March is Jaws.
Very good. Very good. You talked about Tarantino. Um, have you ever seen obviously the movies were fantastic, but actually, this was like last year. I think I picked up the 4K versions of Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2, and oh my god,
Really?
oh god, it's so good. It's I mean, like you said, the sound, and then just because it's such a visual,
And
the
yeah,
colors and
the
everything.
yellow, oh my god, the Kill
Hmm.
Bill series, Uma Thurman,
Yes.
the
Yes.
song, like the music.
Hmm.
I mean, it launched several like thing like
Oh
I
yeah.
hadn't even thought about the Kill Bill series, right?
Hmm.
Um, but now that you
Even
think
the
about
anime
it,
looks better. That one scene part that's animated.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
priceless. Even the black and white just
oh my goodness, the
pops.
color, the blood, the
Mhm.
snow. There's so much. I hadn't even thought of Kill Bill, but
Cool.
now that you're mentioning it, it may be in that like favorite movie category where I say
Mhm.
like classic favorite, you know.
Right, yeah, I'm with you.
Um, yeah, like I said, I've been focused on Christopher Nolan, obviously Kubrick,
Yeah.
uh, some Spielberg, but Tarantino, Hateful Eight is kind of a,
Oh,
I love
it's
the
beautiful.
Hateful, like one of my
Mhm.
favorite song like scores of all time.
Oh, wow, nice.
Um, I forget what it's called, like the main theme. Like
Mhm.
I think the way they did that was just talk about capturing the essence of a movie. Wow. But
Mhm.
Kill Bill, the that you talk about it, I'm just thinking about there's so much visually in that. There's so much
Mhm.
sound in that. There's so much and when I say sound, I mean both musically as well as
The
effect.
effects, exactly.
Right, and
Those
I love
sword
her talking about this
scenes.
because the
Yeah.
Academy Awards are about to come up, and
I
I'm like,
know, I
getting it.
know.
That's why there's 2 categories for this. The
Yep,
Game Awards only puts it in 1 category,
yep.
which I like the music. The Academy Awards does score, score, original song, and visual or sound effects. Game Awards does it all in one.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
shame.
but oh my goodness, you're getting me excited. I
Well,
like
good,
Kill Bill,
good.
like, yeah. So,
Yeah, love that
I'm
movie.
super
Yeah.
yes, okay. That's definitely going up them because I was thinking because obviously Tarantino, we think of, Pulp Fiction, right?
Mhm. Yep.
And Pulp Fiction, they say the Steelbook 4K Blu-ray, like, it's like a thing, like, it's limited version,
Mhm,
uh but I'm like, "Well, Pulp Fiction, I love the story, I love everything, love the themes, love the character sketch," but I'm not sure
mhm.
if I would say, like, "Oh, it's something I need to see on 4K Blu-ray." Of course, I'll probably get it
Right.
eventually, but Kill Bill, the more you're talking about the themes, I could see could really benefit from 4K Blu-ray.
Yeah, the I mean, there's several big scenes with with the katana when she's fighting, and it's like just just the even just like the when the swords hit together and the clanging and it's just the sound alone. It's just it rings and you hear you know what I mean the sound of of the sword as it cuts through the air, and when they hit each, it's just you're just like ooh yeah yeah. It's like you man. It's I really enjoy uh, theatrical movies and stuff like stuff that really draws you in and gets you hyped up and excited, action or whatever. But yeah, that's I
Okay, it's
definitely
up
would
there.
highly recommend that movie.
It's up there.
There you go, there you go. So you talked about like Kubrick movies. Like, is there a certain film that like really jumps out at you?
Well, right, well, we have 2001, right?
Yes.
Y
Hmm.
Space
See you
Odyssey.
next Wednesday.
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah, like, there's that. Obviously, there's so much you're talking about, like, an original, uh like, just there's so much there. Like, as you're talking, like, I'm drawing a blank, but I
No,
think
no,
Kubrick
yeah,
is
I get it.
phenomenal in just so much of what he's done. So,
Yeah,
you're right.
exactly, exactly. But I mean, you look at it. There's I want you to well, John Williams, like some of the music and stuff that he puts out. But I mean, there's
As you're
so
looking out
many.
as you're talking, I'm like, "Let me make sure I can," because
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah,
I
go
know
ahead.
because I would I drew a blank, I feel so embarrassed. But,
No,
yeah.
don't be embarrassed
Oh, well,
about
we
it. It's
talked about The Shining. I talked about The Shining.
yes, yeah,
Yes,
of
yes,
course, yes, yeah, yeah.
I talked about The
That's
Shining.
probably one of his biggest. You're right. You're
Right.
right. Yeah, yep.
Now this one is one I haven't talked about in a like, that I could see.
Hmm.
Same thing with Kill Bill where you had colors, you had themes.
Hmm.
Clockwork Orange,
Oh,
right?
yes.
Right? Punk, like that the idea of like that punk dystopia,
Hmm.
type of
Malcolm
stuff,
McDowell.
right? Okay, um, definitely not what I was thinking about, and I say this as a veteran.
Yeah.
Best war movie ever. And if you heard me, like my business is really around leadership. So
Yes.
I love of this so much. Full Metal Jacket is
Ooh.
probably well, so I would say Full Metal Jacket is probably second best war movie. Platoon is the best, but Full Metal Jacket is definitely in the conversation, but it's probably one of
Hmm.
so definitely good character sketch there. I'm just looking at all these right now. But yeah, I could go on. Spartacus, talk about a classic.
Yeah.
Uh so much. Oh my goodness. Okay, so you tell me. You tell me your Kubrick.
Well, I mean, probably 2001: A Space Odyssey is my
Yeah.
absolute
Yeah.
all-time favorite because of the music, the soundtrack, the way he carries, from one thing to another. And I even enjoy, which not a lot of people did, which was 2010
Okay.
because some of the tie-ins. And it's one of those things where it's definitely a different journey, as it were. But I like the tie-in, but like I said, but the original is the original by the master, and it was
Yeah.
just so well done, and just the whole that he thought about when they're taking the Hell 9000 offline, and he starts reverting back, and he starts his early programming, and then he's singing the song Daisy, which my mom used to sing. It's it
Ah,
clicked in my head when they would do that scene, but then as it slows down, as he's slowly removing his quote unquote brain, the computer type thing, and so it was just like so well done,
no,
so well done. I just like it to me. That's probably I'd say top 10 movies of all time.
classic.
It's just the whole thing. The 2001: A Space Odyssey.
No,
Yeah,
it's a
that's just
classic for a reason.
mhm.
I mean, it's up there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like as we're talking about, like there's so like I like after someone I haven't mentioned, and they say black and white looks really good on 4K Blu-ray
Mhm.
as well. And I think this person virtually everything they did is black and white is Alfred Hitchcock.
Yes. Yes.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, they say,
Mhm.
like, the birds, like, the because if you think about digitally, like, they would, like the gray tone, like, what we think is when you talk about black and white to
Mhm.
people, they have this image of, like, maybe they saw black and white TV back when they were a kid,
Mhm.
and, there's that thing, but there's a beauty to black and white cinema.
Mhm.
Just like there was a beauty to black so I actually took a photography class way when I was younger, and it was
Nice.
using black and white film because it was easy to do this is before digital cameras, y'all. This is
Yep.
like actually using the Canon, I think they called it a 1E, something E, and,
Nice.
but there's an art to it to create the shadow, to create, like, deep like, we talk about, um what is it? OLED versus QLED and the true
Mhm.
blacks versus like there's that same thing that goes on with black and white. And so now I'm thinking about it like probably Alfred Hitchcock. When we talk about Kubrick, I think about that late 60s time frame, which is
Yeah.
probably right as Hitchcock was probably winding down. But it's kind of bringing me back to that era.
Oh, yeah. The like, Psycho, the original,
Psycho the Original, yes.
and it's like, you know, the like you talked about black and white, it's like they had to actually experiment with several different colors to make it look what they would call blood in black and white, because some of the when I tried to use like the red that was actually
Red.
like blood colored, it made it was washed out. So it didn't it looked like milky almost. So they had, what I mean, they had to go back in and, the same way with some of the outfits and stuff and uniforms and stuff from some of the early black and white movies. If you were to see it in color, it'd be like, whoa,
Right.
what is that? Because certain colors didn't
Did not.
present as well in the black and white contrast. So they'd have to actually make those, you know, testing and stuff,
I
costumes.
l I love how you bring that up because, like, so much of, like, the film, when we talk about black and white, you see this in photography a lot, where they try to colorize the photograph,
Yes.
and
Turner
so
classic
what
movies.
yeah, and so what ends up happening is you are doing that, but it's taking away from the visual of what the black and white was, to your
Right.
point, like, right? And so they end up again, you're not seeing the original, you're not seeing what they wanted you to see. Another reason to really cherish like that original closest to what the artist wanted you to see. Obviously,
Hmm.
there's times to remaster something that you wanted to get out of there. Like there may be some noise or something that you don't want to see. But I think that's another great example. I just wanted to highlight that.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I was a big fan of like the Walking Dead series when it first started because I'm a big fan of the art, the comic book, the graphic novel, however you want to word it, but comic book to me. But yeah, so I was and I was really, and then when I bought the Blu-ray when it first released on there, like a digital copy or whatever, but they had a bonus feature which was the first episode, which Rick and all stuff when it first wakes up from his in the hospital bed
Mhm.
type thing, and that's kind of how it started. Well, there is on the Blu-ray they have the whole first episode in black and white, so you can watch it.
What?
Yes, you can actually
That's
watch it
super
in black
cool.
and white. Exactly, and I've watched it in black and white several times, and it reminds me of like the Romero of you know Night of the Living Dead type thing because it just
That's super cool.
yeah, and it was just and I didn't know it was on there like that until I got it. I was like, episode 1 in black and white. So I watched it and I was like, this is really cool. And there's a couple of movies that have done even like the Snyder cut. You can actually get the Snyder cut or see it in black and white. And it's like it really still looks amazing, even in black and white. And that's a super colorful superhero movie. So
Oh, that's super cool. I'll have to check it out.
there
Definitely
you
have
go.
to check it out. And my dog, you probably didn't see it. My dog actually made a little guest appearance. He he's tearing something up. And so
Yeah, I don't even want to look at my living room right now because I guarantee you there's some
he's tearing
definitely
something up. I
touch it
don't know
up.
what it is. I'm gonna have to figure that out pretty soon. But
That's
no.
cool. Well,
Uh,
we can go ahead and
no,
kind of wrap
no,
things
no, no,
up.
no. Don't let Remy
No,
don't
no,
let
no, no.
Remy finish a
Yeah.
great conversation. He's good. It's nothing big. It looks like some type of paper. So we're good.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just, yeah,
The wall's
like
coming down. I don't understand. No, I'm just
yeah,
kidding.
there he is. He's there in the back. Oh, I see what it is. I see what it is. Give me it. Yeah, it's like a door stopper. That's
Oh,
what it is.
yeah.
So he took
Those are
his
always fun.
yeah, we have another dog upstairs that needs we were thinking that maybe yeah, he knows how to open the door. So not this
Oh,
one, the
no.
other one. And so we are
Yeah.
like, maybe the door stopper. Well, we realized that was probably a safety issue. So
Yeah. Well, you don't want them to get out or get hurt. So it's all good. The mindset.
yeah.
Well, to be honest, I have a what they call a baby gate.
Ah, okay.
So she come up to the gate a couple times, little paws. She's a Yorkshire Terrier, weighs 7 pounds. So she's a little thing, and she's
Oh,
actually still technically a puppy. She just turned a year old last
okay.
month. So she's of course she's the master of the house.
Yes.
And like if I'm in here, she's like, I want to be in here. I need to be in there with you, or you need to be out here with me. What's going on? What's this
Oh,
imaginary barrier? So she's so funny. She's awesome. So, but yeah. So, but yeah. To kind of wrap things up,
okay.
as it were, is there any particular a game that's coming out in the future that hasn't been released yet that you're like most looking forward to?
Oh my goodness. So, yeah, let's talk about gaming. I could talk
No, no, no.
passionate
Let's
about
go.
gaming. Yeah,
Yeah.
so 2023 to me was a phenomenal year. You have Remnant 2 came out. I thought that was a
Hmm.
great game. I'm a huge I'm a Nintendo fan. I'll say that, like I love Nintendo.
Me too.
Particularly certain franchises. Tears of the Kingdom came out. Pikmin 4 came out. I've always said that I think 2023 for me is gonna go down as probably like a 1990. Like you would have to go in the 90s to get for me as good of a year as
Yeah.
2023.
Cool.
2024 is low key going to be really close behind it because I love double A games.
Hmm.
Like not the big flashy stuff, but the stuff that's coming out. And so I'm gonna probably say like the biggest game that I think that I'm looking forward to coming out of Capcom is Dragon Dogma 2. Right, big game,
Yes.
looks great. It's gonna do phenomenal. I hope it does phenomenal because I think Capcom really needs that win after Street Fighter 6. Street Fighter 6 was a good game. Don't get me wrong. I just
Right.
want to
Yeah.
see Capcom just continue to do well.
Hmm.
Um, Obviously, one of my favorite genres of all time, probably my most looked forward game for 2023 is Little Nightmares 3.
Cool.
Another game, I've said this, I think, before, and I kind of
Hmm.
try to dabble into some of the console wars. I think the best Xbox published game ever series franchise is Ori. So Moon
Ooh,
Studios
yes.
is coming out. Moon Studios is the one that did Ori. They're
Hmm.
coming out with a game called No Rest for the Wicked. Really looking forward to
Yes.
that.
Does look
Uh,
good.
there's another one called Banishers: Ghosts of New Eden that I'm
Mm.
really looking forward to coming out of Focus Entertainment. And uh, Black Myth Wukong, or what is it? I think that's what
Yes.
it's. That's
Yes.
another one coming
That
out.
right there for me too. I
Right,
love that. Can
coming
hardly
out
wait for that.
there. So I think, and I think there's like one more that I am. Oh, Contra has local co-op, so I get to play with that. Contra from Konami, they're coming out with a
Hmm.
new Contra, so I'm really looking forward to
Cool.
that. And yeah, so if you can tell, like there's several there that I really want to jump in, and then obviously DLC for Remnant 2.
Hmm.
They have 2 more launching this year, and yeah, I think those are the Helldivers 2, which just released. I want to play that. That was a big one.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's coming out.
Yeah.
Yourself?
Yeah. Me, I'll continue to play more Power World. No,
Yeah.
but I'm looking for Hellblades too. That's that to me that really.
How about as soon as okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm looking forward to that a lot. And but yeah, there's so many other good games that you even mentioned too. There's like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And between now and the end of the year, there's still going to be some surprises from what we
Yeah,
understand coming
huge,
out on
huge.
all platforms that we have no idea until it gets closer
Yeah.
to time. That maybe
Well,
this
or
you'll
they
hear
hinted
about.
at it, and another one
Hmm.
that I think is gonna get released this year is coming, uh, Arc Raiders. So
Oh
they're
yeah,
the same people who are doing it was just a free to play game that just launched maybe a month or 2 months ago. It actually launched the day of the Game Awards. I cannot think about it. I can't think of it the name of it, but Arc Raiders, kind of they changed the thing, but I'm still really looking forward to that. And I think that's gonna like randomly drop uh
yeah,
in Q2 of this year. So
yeah. Looking forward to that. And my last one would be Indiana Jones.
you're a big Indiana Jones fan.
Yeah, yeah. I just think everything's gonna come together for that game. We'll see. I'm
Yeah,
excited,
no,
but or at least wanna give it a shot, right?
yeah, no, for me, it doesn't even as long as people have fun with it, like,
Yeah,
that's all that matters. Like, one of the games I love the most is a game that got ton of negative publicity, but I think it's so fun, and that's Outriders.
I loved Outriders.
I
Yeah, I'm right there
love
with you.
Outriders, and, so I'm always like, again, you have to support the medium. I don't care
Mhm.
if it's not your game, it's not your console, it's not you have to support because if not, let's make no doubt about it that there's something else that will come and it won't be the same enjoyment. And I think we already see that with certain genres of games and certain game companies and certain game
Mhm.
franchises. It's not like someone's just going to come and save it. It's not like you're going to get the same team who built the original that you love, built the next one.
Right.
So in, ch- definitely champion everybody in their endeavor because um, if everybody can just enjoy the game and be happy with what they have, I think the world would just be such a better place.
Amen. And Purple, we will leave it on that. Purple Haze, it's fantastic to have you here. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank
Shades
you.
of Purple, the podcast. Tell everybody when you're usually on and where they can find you at. Of course, everything is going to be in the description below on both the audio version and the visual version as well.
Yeah.
But please let everybody know.
Yeah, thanks, WEBDAVE. So Thursdays usually 8 p.m. most times. Shades of Purple is my show. Usually I do one or two different things. I either interview someone or I do where I kind of just do an off the cuff take on what's going on. So I did that this most recent week. And then on Sundays, same to 8 p.m. Eastern, I
Hmm.
do either horror or community gameplay on my channel. And usually it's a free to play game, so something like Fall Guys or something. That's why I love Stadia because it was that. But
Yeah,
that's what I normally do. And then sometimes I do like a random video hot take, the purple shade, and that's maybe a little bit more controversial,
that's all right.
meant to stir the hornet's nest. But yeah, so that's what I do. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for being here. And thanks everybody for joining us tonight. And if you don't mind, please hit the like button, subscribe button. And when
Yes.
you go to her channel and go to her link, make sure you not only subscribe because it doesn't cost you anything to subscribe. There is the bell icon. Hit the bell icon so that you are
Mhm.
notified when her content comes out. So if you forget or like, and then you can always, and if you can't watch it live, you can always watch a repeat because that counts just the same for us. And it's a greatly appreciate that you came on PurpleHaze. Thank you so much. And thank you for everybody for joining us here at Outbreak Gamers.
Game